Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Scoops. There's actually quite a lot of things to talk about today from a lot of different communities, so let's just get started. First thing is actually good news. So, ArcSys announced that their upcoming Arc World Tour finals is actually going to include Granblue Rising. Now, this is a big deal for a few different reasons. When the Arc World Tour got announced this year, one of the things that a lot of people expressed concern with is that it was only Strive, right? There was only Strive on the tour. It wasn't really an Arc World Tour. It was just the Strive World Tour because it was the only game on the tour. And so, like, a lot of people, including myself, were pretty baffled that Granblue was not going to be on the lineup. But it looks like they're trying to rectify that by adding it. And, you know, from the outside looking in, it seems a little weird to me, just because, like, if you were going to have it as part of the tour, I feel like you probably should have told people ahead of time. Like, there's no reason that you shouldn't tell people before the game comes out. But, you know, it is what it is. So let's take a look at how they're doing it. So they've split into 4 regions. It's pretty straightforward. They have 2 qualifier slots in NA, 2 qualifier slots in EMEA, and 2 qualifier slots in Asia, and then 2 from the LCQ. So 8 people are going to qualify for Granblue Rising World Finals. And, you know, this is also very, very interesting because, you know, the finals are so close to when the game comes out. Like, the game isn't out yet. It comes out December 15th, right? It comes out December 15th. And the finals are in March, right? So, like, that's a very short time period, like, that people are going to have with the game, you know, to qualify and whatnot. So this is an interesting approach. I haven't quite seen anyone do like that. They do have, like, prizing stated and everything, which is cool. But honestly, I think people are just happy that Granblue is going to be on the tour. This is a big W, like a really, really big W. I think Granblue has been doing a lot of things correctly. And they've really been carrying themselves the right way in terms of how they've been taking, like, player feedback and stuff like that. And so them being rewarded by, you know, being a part of the World Tour and adding that legitimacy. There's already 3 events stated. There's already 3 events stated for the tour. Frosty is a big one because, man, Frosty's is such a crazy event this year, guys. You got to understand, Frosty's is the first big tournament for Under Night 2. It's the first big tournament for Tekken 8. It's the debut major for Granblue Rising. Like, and on top of that, you know, Strive is still has quite the train going on and everything. So, like, Frosty's is going to be absolutely huge this year. If you're a fan of anime games, you definitely don't want to miss it because there's just so much. It's the last Strive Arc Revo qualifier as well. It's just crazy how much is in that event. So good for them. But I am very much looking forward to this. Granblue Rising looks like it's shaping up to be quite sick. So I will definitely be watching every single one of these qualifiers, and yeah, all offline in terms of the qualifiers, which is, you know how I feel about World Tours and focusing too much on online. I'm cool with this. I'm totally cool with it all being offline. It's a breath of fresh air. It's you know, it's not that many slots. It's only 8 slots, but I think part of that is because there is such short time between its release and, you know, the actual tour finals. So it is what it is. We'll keep our eye on it and see how things go. But I'm pretty excited for this. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's going to be pretty sick. So good stuff. Starting off with a little good news. And then we have a little bit more good news as they actually said they were going to include Uni 2 on top of that as a side tournament. So Uni 2 is not going to be a part of the Arc finals. But they are gonna host a side tournament for it, and, like, that's big, right? That's a big deal because, you know, it comes out too close, I think, to the finals for them to, like, actually add it to the tour. Like, Under Night releases, I think, January 25th, like, end of January. So they probably thought, like, okay, like, we're already cutting it close with Granblue releasing in December and releasing in December and having the finals in March. They probably just thought they couldn't swing it for Uni 2, but them having a side tournament, meaning that they get a showcase, right? And that stuff like this is a big deal for a relatively small game like Under Night, right? Like, in terms of, like, the greater fighting game landscape, you know, French bread and Uni are very small compared to like the titans that they're up against, right? Like when you talk about your Capcoms, your Bandais, like these guys are tiny, right? And unfortunately, they were put in a situation where they were released the same day, the literal same day as Tekken 8, and so like they were never really going to get their day in the limelight because, you know, they're going to be splitting it with Tekken 8. Just in terms of fighting games, it's an unfortunate reality. But this is at least like a nice gesture, because, you know, we will get to see that showcase of like Uni on, you know, in front of everyone on the big stage, and so that should be pretty cool. And like I said, the first big tournament for Uni 2 is going to be at Frosty's, and so this is another game that I'm very much looking forward to. Hopefully at the Arc World Finals, they announced that all 3 of these games are going to be on the tour for 2024. I can't imagine them doing anything else, to be honest. And absolutely best case scenario, they also add DNF, but different conversation. Okay, moving on. Okay, Capcom. Let's talk a little bit about Capcom. So they have actually released, we watched this yesterday. I don't know what the best way to go about this is. I guess I'll just play it muted. But they are doing a Spy Family collab that is coming out in January. And so they released this cinematic of Your Forger going up against Chun-Li, which I don't know about you guys. This is so cool that this is a thing. It's actually like such a cool thing to exist. I would actually be okay with them just releasing this and nothing else. I don't know what the collab's going to entail. Probably most likely going to be avatar skins and shit like that. That's probably what the focus will be if we go off of what they've done before. But this one cinematic alone is like really cool to see this type of crossover, and kind of like a little bit unlikely, right? Like it's like kind of crazy, right? Like I don't think anyone really expected for Yor and Chun-Li to exist in the same space in this medium like that. So that's really cool. I'm pretty big anime nerd myself, so I'm actually just like cool with this. If this is all that comes out of it, I'm actually so down, right? Whatever more they decide to bring to the table is just more on top, but holy shit, absolutely incredible. I'll leave a link for the whole YouTube video in the description if you want to check it out for yourself, but it is so cool, so cool. Yor is like one of the better anime characters in like the past few years as well, so I'm glad that it's her. And yeah, honestly, nothing but good things to say. But we can't only say good things about Capcom. We have this shit to talk about. So as of a few days ago, they have released Outfit 3. Now, Outfit 3 was something that a lot of people were waiting a long time for. Like, people would comment it on pretty much everything, and they're talking about, you know, where's Costume 3, where's Costume 3? Because they teased it a very long time ago, and then they never released anything, right? And so there was, like, no news for a really long time. Well, Outfit 3 is here, and unfortunately, we have some very negative things to say about it. So, first of all, I want to preface this with the costumes look incredible. Like they really do. Like let me move myself here so you guys can see all of them. Pretty much all of them are pretty great, honestly. Like the quality of the costumes themselves, really good. I will commend whoever was behind the design for the costumes. I think they did a great job, honestly. But with it comes some very bad things. Well, really just bad thing, just one bad thing. And that is monetization. So unfortunately, to purchase purchase one Outfit 3, you need 250 or you need 300 fighter coins. If you know anything about Street Fighter 6, you would know if you've ever tried to buy anything that the least amount that you can buy is actually 250. So, and I believe the 250 coins cost $5 or 99. And so you can't purchase it with just one pack. You have to buy 2 packs, right? So you're spending $10 just to get one costume. And because of the way that this math lies, it turns out that if you want to buy every single Outfit 3, then you'd have to pay around $100, which is insane, right? That is insane that, like, for you to get all the costumes, $100 is a lot, right? Especially compared to the game itself, right? Especially compared to Costume 2, which is essentially free, right? Because if you want Costume 2s, you can unlock them in game. And so It's really called into question Capcom's practices here, and for good reason, right? As time goes on, you know, fighting games are going to look for more and more avenues to monetize. That is reasonable. Fighting games don't necessarily have a ton of money. Now, Capcom is not hurting for money. They make a ton off of Monster Hunter and other ventures, but at least monetizing fighting games themselves is usually pretty difficult. They tried something similar with Street Fighter V, and I actually think the way that they did Street Fighter V was better because some of the money, at least from those costumes, went to Capcom Co, right? As of now, it doesn't seem like that's the plan for Street Fighter 6. It seems like this is just straight up, you have to pay for the costumes. They're not going back into the scene in any way. And what I'm really surprised about is there's no bundling, right? Like, I thought when they announced Outfit 3 and they did a trailer of all of them together and all that, I thought that they would do a bundle that you could just buy all the costume 3s all at once for a price. I don't know what that price would be, but I gotta believe that even if every single costume all together was like $60, I think they would get a lot less backlash. $100 and you have to buy each one individually is like really hurtful to a lot of people. And so, like, this is not the only instance of a big company in fighting games kind of missing the mark with their monetization. We also talked about Mortal Kombat 1 and how they had issues with like the Omni-Man DLC and the announcer being the announcer costs more than the character itself, right? And so unfortunately, this kind of seems like it's a little bit of a trend where the bigger fighting games are kind of fucking up how they're doing monetization. And I hope that they figure it out soon, because this really like takes the wind out of everyone's sails. Like, in my eyes, right, Street Fighter 6 is the game that everyone should still be really hype and gung-ho about, right? It's the largest fighting game by a sizable margin that we've seen in recent history. It, you know, has a tour going on. They kind of missed the mark on the tour, right? That definitely reduces some of the hype. They missed the mark on the costumes. That takes away some of the hype. And while the costumes are very good, you know, you remove a lot of the enthusiasm people have to buy them if it is not economically feasible. Like, this $100 for all the costumes is insane, right? Especially considering the amount of people that would even be interested in buying all the costumes in the first place. It's probably pretty low in the grand scheme of things, but what they could have done at the very least is just make it an even $250, right? If each costume costs $250, then that means all you have to do is load up and buy one pack of fighter coins and you can buy one costume. I think that would make a lot more sense for a lot of people, and that would reduce the cost significantly, because that is the source of you having to overpay to even afford the skins in the first place. And so, like, people are just going to be left with fighter coins left over that they don't really have a use for. And so, yeah, I really hope that they change things with this. Fortunately, like, this is not something that can't be fixed. Like, they can rectify this. I don't know if they will. They might be thinking, yo, we're putting up $2 million for Capcom Cup. We can't afford to do this and that. I don't buy it. Honestly, I don't buy it. Capcom's a huge company. They could definitely attack this in a better way. So those of you that are upset about this, you have every absolute right to be upset about this. And only if we raise the issue, like if we make it known that we're not okay with this type of stuff, that's the only way that it can change. If we let them get away with murder, then they're gonna keep murdering. That's just how it goes. So yeah, unfortunate, but we move on. Okay, next, Mortal Kombat putting out some content. Holy shit, that's loud. But Quan is coming to Mortal Kombat 1. This is one of the more anticipated characters as far as returning characters go. Quan Chi is a character in Mortal Kombat that is always mad cheap. He's known for having unblockables, for having some of the most fucked up mix in the game's history. And most of all, I think he's just really interesting. He has a really interesting aesthetic. He has a really interesting play style. And so Quan Chi is going to be making his way to Mortal Kombat 1 very soon. And on top of that, they also announced that Chameleon is going to be a cameo. So Chameleon is a character that kind of swaps between styles, between the female ninja characters, Kitana, Melina, and Jade. And I gotta say, like, based on like just looking at the trailer and stuff, like, things look really good, honestly. Like, I like went through a little bit and just like looks like he's so interesting, right? Like, he has like the portal, he like shooting big ass skulls at people. Like, this is so like visually interesting that like I could totally understand if there are people that pick up the game strictly for Quan Chi. It looks very interesting. So he's coming to the game soon, along with the cameo. And so that should be really cool. Mortal Kombat needs a W. And they also tease Peacemaker. I think his name is Peacemaker at the very end, which for those of you who don't know, is John Cena. It is it is John Cena acting as the model and also the voice of Peacemaker. So they gave him a little bit of a tease, which is really cool. So really well thought out trailer and everything. I think things are looking good for them, as long as they don't fuck it up with as long as they don't fuck it up with shitty monetization practices, then I think they should be pretty good. This is a pretty good announcement from them. So big ups to Ed Boon and the team for doing it this way. It looks good. It looks really good. Even as someone who doesn't like play Mortal Kombat actively, like this is really good announcement. Okay. The last thing we have to talk about is some Project L. So Project L has been getting quite a lot of buzz in fighting game social media spaces, mostly because of some misunderstandings, honestly. Like, so the account that I'm browsing right now is Riot FGC. It does not have any affiliation with Riot themselves. This is not an official account. So first of all, those of you who take things from this account, they're pretty much like a reposter. They're just trying to keep people's interest in the game and whatnot. This is not Riot themselves publishing this stuff. And I know because they have the Riot FGC name, that's like hard for a lot of people to understand. But yeah, they're not affiliated at all. They say it right here. No affiliation with Riot Games. So this is not official, but there has been footage that has been coming out, and also a little bit of an interview. I think they got some words from Marlon Pie. For those of you who don't know who Marlon Pie is, he is one of the games. He is one of the most prolific Marvel players ever. He is absolutely insane in Marvel 3, known for his flashy combos and really understanding game systems and maximizing what you can do within those systems. And so that's why it's such a good thing for him to be working on this game. There's a few different Marvel players actually working on the dev team of Project L. Marlon Pie, Clockwork, Apology Man has done some contract work, I think, for quality assurance. And so like that bodes well because it's actual fighting game players, and more than that, actual versus game players that are working on this game, right? And so that's so cool, right? That's a big deal. We really don't have that. Like that's a source of connection that a lot of games don't have. And so I'm super excited to see what they do to it. And honestly, a lot of the people that have been testing the game and whatnot have been speaking very highly of it. And unfortunately with that, because it's getting a lot of buzz, because Project L is going to be quite the big deal no matter how you look at it, right? It's a free game. It's a League of Legends IP. There's no way this isn't going to be pretty much the biggest fighting game by a pretty sizable margin. You know, that also comes with some negative discourse. So let's talk a little bit about that. I'll leave a link for this entire video in the description if you want to stay updated on what's going on with Project L. But people have been, so this account has been posting, you know, screenshots and you know, video capture footage of like from the trailers and whatnot, and showing people like kind of what can be done, like showing some mix-ups and whatnot. And so unfortunately people have been looking at it and kind of discounting it because they're saying, oh, this looks similar to other games that I don't like or didn't like or whatever. And it's so funny. So the main thing that I see is that a lot of people are getting mad because they're seeing things similar to BB Tag. And it's really funny because I honestly think BB Tag is not even the game it's most similar to. There's some similarities for sure, but I don't think that it's even the closest association. I think this game is closest to Power Rangers, Battle for the Grid. And so like BB Tag is kind of acting as a scapegoat for people. And like reading through comments and reading through discourse, it is so abundantly clear that a lot of these people that are mad about it have not played BB Tag. Like they just haven't, because they're assuming that certain things work in certain ways and it's not how they work. So yeah, it's really interesting. As you can see, like BB Tag was trending here strictly because like Project L discourse, and so like people are kind of just using they're using this whole discourse as like a means to like shit on games even more, which like doesn't make any sense. You haven't played Project L, you haven't played BB Tag, most of you have not even played some of these games that you're even comparing them to, and so all I ask is that you actually like stop making dumbass statements without the information? Like, is that too much to ask? I don't know. It's very silly. These are different games. Yes, they share similar components, but Project L is going to be its own thing, and we should embrace that. It's going to have things that people don't like. It's going to have things that people really do like, but the game's not even close to being released yet, so I don't see why people are getting so mad about it, right? People have been able to play test it here and there at events, and like I said, overwhelming majority of the feedback has been very positive. I have not seen many negative things about Project L from the people that have actually played it. All the negative I've seen have been coming from social media. And so I don't know about you guys, but I'm super excited for more info with Project L, and that is saying something, as I am not into League of Legends at all. Like, I do not put any amount of time into League of Legends. I don't really watch it or anything like that, and despite that, it looks like it's going to be really interesting. And so yeah, we'll stay tuned for more news and everything as time goes along. But that's it for Scoops this week, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of things going on in the fighting game world. The last thing I want to end off with is, of course, make sure you guys keep an eye out for Grand Blue Rising coming out in less than 2 weeks. And for you Dragon Ballers out there, of course, the Dragon Ball rollback beta is currently going on until December 11th. And so there's a ton of footage, a ton of tournaments. Bro, I've been managing calendar for that game. There's just been so many events to the point where people are literally getting burnt out because they have to play in too many things. Hilarious. I don't know. It's funny because they do it to themselves, but it is what it is. So a lot of exciting things in the fighting game world, but that'll be it from me, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, have a good one. We'll see you in the next one.